I'm Solika Aktar. I welcome you to Gurukul Online Learning Network. So today is another class of our Gurukul English for the English for today of class 9 and 10. We are continuing the Unit-2 and today our lesson is number 3, Change in Pastime. So as we have been discussing about pastimes, so it also have seen some changes throughout the passage of time. So do you want to see that what kind of changes we have been going through? Let's move on to reading the text. First of all, we need to understand that what we are going to learn from this lesson. So the first thing, we will obviously learn about the changes in the pastimes from the past, or we will know about the pastimes of the past. The pastimes which were very popular among our ancestors. Also, we will learn how we can practice our vocabulary at home with our English for Today book. Do you want to see? They have an activity there. So now we can just really move on to reading the text. Childhood outdoor pastimes in decline. Traditional childhood pastimes of climbing trees and playing conkers are in decline, according to survey by RSPB, Royal Society for the Protection of Birds. It's a charitable organization registered in England and Wales. The survey shows that people under 34 recall far fewer such childhood outdoor experiences than people over 55, according to a survey by RSPB. So, if you just go to the end of the text, this is a report adapted from BBC News 6 September 2010. Let us move on to the first one. If in 2010 they have conducted a survey where they can find the people who are aged at 34 or lesser than 34, they hardly can remember any activities or any pastimes that they have conducted out of their home in the outdoors with the nature. Rather, the people over 55 plus people, like the age of 55 and more, they are more, or I would say they were more active in the outdoor games or outdoor activities for their pastimes. So they were more close to the nature in case of their pastimes, right? So this is the text is about that how childhood outdoor pastimes have been declining. They are naming the traditional one, the conventional one, like climbing trees or conkers. Conkers is basically a game in England or in that region which is played by the chestnut tree seeds. So let us move on to the next part of the text about how this outdoor pastimes or these traditional pastimes are declined. We can see with the statistics or data. People were asked which of the 12 childhood outdoor experiences they could remember. The answer included making dents, daisy chains, climbing trees, playing conkers, and feeding birds. 4 out of 5 boys climbed trees and the same number of girls made daisy chains. But the survey showed the numbers declining among the newer generations. Some 15% more of those aged over 55 had these outdoor experiences in their childhood, compared with those between 15 to 34 years old. Some 92% of the public agreed that experiences of nature were still important to children, and 82% agreed that schools should play a role in providing them to all children. So, as we can see, the survey was conducted and people were asked about the pastimes from their childhood they can remember about. So, most of them actually talked about climbing trees, playing conkers, making daisy chains. You remember daisy chains? Do you know about the daisy chains? আমরা বাংলায় যেটাকে বলি রেলগাড়ি বানানো। এখন তো নিশ্চয়ই বোঝা যাচ্ছে। So, daisy chains is the game which is very popular in the whole world, I guess. So people over 55 aged were more into making this, or were more into doing these activities like making houses or dens, caves for their playing. And these outdoor activities and the acquaintance of nature was very important to them as a child. So they're also been debating here, or they're also been giving their opinion about it. So let's move on, that why this can be very important, or why people think it to be important. The survey has highlighted the positive impact of contact with nature on a child's education, health, well-being and social skills. At the same time, there has been a decline in these opportunities with negative consequences for children, families and society, a condition now known as nature deficit disorder. So as we are seeing that the more the children is contacting with the nature, the more it is being positive for the child, or it is being helpful for the child for its education, health, well-being and social skills. As the time is passing, these natural or outdoor activities are declining. Children are not much comprehended with the nature. This is where the family, the social problems are coming, and natural deficit disorder is being showing up. This is how the consequences or the result of not being too much contacting with the nature is being coming up, or this is just having some very negative impacts overall. Mike Clark, Chief Executive of the RSPB, will meet Parliament members to urge the government to join other organizations in providing children with first-hand experiences of the natural environment. We believe this guidance should include the many positive impacts to children of having contact with nature and learning outside the classroom. That means the organization who has conducted the survey, RSPB, the executive or chief executive of that organization, Mike Clark, has showed his urge to contact the parliament members so that decisions can be made to include children, or to make children contact more with the nature, or to include them more into outdoor activities, because the natural deficit disorder is being really alarming. It is taking all the focuses away from the children. They are just being addicted to the technological stuffs or the devices, mobiles, televisions, computers and stuff, and they are not very acquainted with the nature or the surroundings around them. This is how the disconnectivity, also the social interacting problems are showing up in them. The familial problems are being seen, broken relationships, broken families, and many more. So social disorder, so on. So see, the natural deficit disorder is really having the negative impacts. So Mike Clark is really trying to reach out to the higher authority so the children can actually come out of their shells from the home and can be included in outdoor activities, so that they can just prevent this disorder and can have the positive energies to be brought up. So as we were saying that in this lesson, we will learn how to have the vocabulary guidance. Our textbook itself is giving us some instructions. Our textbook is actually telling us to have a dictionary and just go through the very difficult words that we have found in this article, so that we will just come up with the meaning of these words and then we can use it. This is how we can just actually enhance our vocabulary. So let's go through the difficult vocabularies that we had, or the difficult words that we had, unknown words that we had in the text. First one, conkers. As we were reading the text, I already mentioned that conkers is a traditional children's game in Britain and Ireland, and they play this game using the seeds of horse chestnut trees. Horse chestnut trees are not very common in our area. Bangladesh doesn't have it really, but we can just Google it, watch it, say it, and understand that how these chestnut trees look like to play with. Also, there was another word called dens. It is kind of cave, we can say, or we also can interpret it as a wild mammal's hidden home. So there were many children who had the experience of making caves or dens or just a home-like place for themselves to play or hide. The next word come is decline. That means become smaller, fewer, less, decrease. So the reduction in numbers is basically, or the reduction in quantity is basically meaning to decline. The next word come in here is highlight. That means if we want to draw some special attention to something, or if we want to draw the focus on something very important, this is how we call it, highlighting it. The verb is highlight, so we're just trying to draw the attention to some important thing. The next thing is impact. That means having an effect or influence. Positive impact, negative impact. Consequences, a result, right? Or also can affect. So if the natural deficit disorder is happening, it is basically a consequence of not having so much contact with the nature as a child. So consequences are basically indicating to results of something. Then we have disorder, a state of confusion, not so much managed, not well organized. It's a chaos. Urge, try earnestly or persistently to persuade someone to do something. As Mike Clark was saying that he's going to show his urge to change things for the children in the parliament or to the parliament members. That means he really wants to convince the parliament members about the natural deficit disorder, and he really wants them to take effective steps so that the children can be included in outdoor activities and can prevent this disorder. So this is how the urge word is being used in the article. So see, we have this vocabulary guidance in our textbook. We can do the same with the other text as well. If we find any difficult word, unknown word, we can just have a dictionary, we can just search it in there. Also, we can Google the meaning and just note down so that we can learn new words to use. We have some questions according to the article or just related to the article. So, as they were talking about natural deficit disorder and as they have shown a survey that the newer generation or the recent generation is not very much acquainted with the natural or outdoor activities. They are more into computers and other devices or just having the pastimes at home rather than out home. So can we just discuss about it and think of that what are the benefits in here? So the first question that we are saying is about, do you think the children should have more contacts with nature? Why or why not? If you ask me the question that if the children should have more contacts with nature, I would personally say yes. Because a child should really know about its surroundings. What is in its surroundings? Light, air, sky, trees. These are important things to grow the senses, the 5 senses we have, which is sight, hearing or audio, tasting, feeling, and smelling. Feeling comes with the touch. So these are the 5 senses, and nature is actually something that provokes us to emphasize on our senses or to enhance our sensuous abilities. So a child should really be into more contact with nature to grow these abilities, to have these better qualities. Then the question comes that what are the benefits they may have if taken to nature frequently? As I have firstly mentioned, from my perspective, the child would learn about the nature more clearly, more vividly. The surroundings will be more clear to him, or the more clarified to the child. Also, the child will have a greater sense or the abilities of sensing in a better way. So, the child will be more flexible with the nature. And if we talk about any harms for the conducting with the nature, if we really don't be very careful about the children, they can just, have some harmful natural acquaintance, like some trees may be poisonous, or sometimes some animals or some insects may poison them. So these things can be physical or mental growth or ongoing activities for the children. So these harms probably can be taken into consideration. But still, I guess you should also think of that if the children should really be more into contact of nature, and what will be the benefits of it or what will be the harms of it. Think of it, argue with your partners or friends, and then just come to the conclusion that if we really should have some more outdoor activities for our generations to come. So your homework will be to go back as well. As we will be thinking about the future also, we will be learning about the past as well. Why don't you just use your time and ask your parents what pastimes they had in their childhood. See how interesting it is. You can just converse with your parents about your own learnings or also your own lessons. Yeah, so just ask your parents that what pastimes they had in their childhood and compare them with your ones. What pastimes you have and what they had. Also, you can compare them with your friends' pastimes as well. So, who are more close to nature? Are you more close to nature, or were your parents as children were more close to nature? Why don't you share with us? Share with us in the comment section of the video. Also, the other video links will be in the description. For further videos, stay tuned with us. Thank you.